You ever feel burned out from reselling? I'm talking about listing $15 items, answering customer questions, shipping, and occasionally getting a return just to make a few bucks. One of the biggest shifts that Melody and I made in our business was to focus on raising our average sale price. Having an average sale price that was higher reduced our fatigue. It reduced the amount of work that we were having to do to make a certain level of income. We did that by changing how we source. We did it by changing how we learn, and we did it without raising our average buy cost. Because here's the truth. It's a lot easier to list a $100 item than it is to list 5 $20 items. I'm going to walk you through exactly how we did that. And most importantly, how you can do the same thing. We started like most people. We love garage sales. Garage sales are fun, and you get a chance to buy some things at a low cost and sometimes a really, really high reward. There's a problem with garage sales that I'll talk about in just a minute. Then we added estate sales. Estate sales are fun because a lot of times the estate sale happens before the big garage sale. We get a chance to go in and find some great items at estate sales. There's a problem with those too. Next came thrift stores. Lots of stuff all in one place. Some pretty good prices. You could buy a lot of $15 items and spend $3. Next, we gave the Goodwill bins a shot. And the Goodwill bins there's a ton of inventory. It's super cheap. You can buy 100 pounds worth of stuff. How many of you have ever thought when you were at the bins, let me go in the back? Let me go back there before all of these other pushy, shovey people get a chance to get in my way. Let me go back there first. If you've ever thought that, then this is the video for you. Here's the thing, in this day and age, whether it's garage sales, estate sales, thrift stores, or the Goodwill bins, every single one of those people have become resellers. You are competing with people that have already cherry-picked everything that they have. Goodwill has their own eBay stores, meaning the stuff that's coming out in the bins now, there are people in the back going through it and pulling out the best items. They're not going to know everything. Sure, they're going to miss stuff. You can still find things. Same way with thrift stores. Most brick and mortar thrift stores now also have an online component. Every single one of these sourcing methods is reactive. I can only consider buying items that somebody else has already been through. I am only getting to pick through things that somebody else has deemed it's not worth it for them. So the trick to this is to be proactive and to find sources before other people have had a chance to look at it. First step is research. So here's what research means for us. Way back, Melody and I started studying because when we first added clothing to our list of things we're going to sell, like I literally knew enough to get dressed by myself, and that was it. I didn't know any brands. So the first thing I did is I studied what all the YouTubers say. I was learning brands. Here's the thing. The brands that are selling change. If you're watching a video that's 6 months or 4 years old, the brands aren't going to be the same. We started studying, well, what is selling? By looking at most recent, I can see what people are selling. But you got to sort more ways than just one. We also looked at what sold for the most. If I'm looking up brass, what brass is selling for a lot of money? What should I be watching for? And I also sorted by what sells close to me. What are other resellers in my area finding? Because that might be a clue as to the things that I'm going to see. We didn't spend more than 10 or 15 minutes a day, unless we went down a rabbit hole, but we spent 10 to 15 minutes a day, every day though, studying a lot and becoming more knowledgeable. And with the knowledge comes power. And it made us much better when we went out spotting the value that potentially lied there. Let me give you an example of spotting value over hype. Melody and I found a personal jacket from a World War II sailor, and it was really, really thrashed. And our study did something for us that will become apparent as I tell the story. But this jacket was embroidered on the back. He had put the name of the ship that he was on. His name was on the front. And he put every single port of call that they stopped at embroidered on the back. Now, this is a jacket that looked terrible, but it had so much history in it. And because of the history and our research, We know that items that hold a lot of historical information have value. I think, without any research, we would have probably picked this up anyway. But that's not the key, because I would have drastically underpriced it based on the condition. Drastically, and I would have probably put $100 on it or something. And it sold for hundreds. We knew, based on how rare that type of item is, because his name was on it, you could trace it back to an individual sailor. So we priced this thing high. Research doesn't just help you find things you wouldn't have found. It also can keep you from underpricing things, because now you have a much better idea what the value is. Research is not the only shift, and by itself it's probably not enough, because you're still going to be reacting to what other people say. We do what I call relationship-based sourcing at this point. And it doesn't happen overnight. It is something you're going to have to work on and you're going to have to build. Let me tell you what that means. We started offering people help. People that are going to have an estate sale. People that are wanting to have a garage sale. And we let them know, hey, we're happy to come over. Make sure you don't make a mistake, and we'll let you know what these things are worth. We'll even show you how to look up what things are worth so that you can do the research on your own. We are buyers, but I'm willing to help whether I buy anything or not. And most of the time, I will go help somebody and nothing comes of it. I just help somebody. But word of mouth over the years, I don't do a lot of cold calls anymore. People call me and ask for help. And a lot of those people are also interested in just selling it. A big part of this, it's not just letting them know I can help. It's that when I do help, that the help is trustworthy. Something else that changed in our business is how we buy inventory. We used to buy individual items. That works great because you get to cherry pick. But what we found out over time is that when I buy in bulk, I still get to cherry pick, but my cost per item comes way down. We bought a storage locker recently, and I bought it because I had reached out to the guy who had the storage locker. And even though it was going to go to auction, I ended up having a great relationship with this guy. I talked to him on the phone, and he told me what's in the locker. And he said it'd be great if he could get back some personal items, but because of our interaction, he told me what was in it. So I ended up spending $2,000 on a locker that you couldn't tell what was in it. Turns out there's about 1,000 items that are new with tags. There's probably another 500 pieces of clothing that are used, and 200 pairs of shoes, not to mention all the other stuff. Buying in bulk brings the cost per item down so drastically that on this one, even though I spent $2,000 on a locker, I've got over 1,000 items that I'm going to sell, meaning my cost per item is under $2. That's crazy. That competes with the Goodwill bins, except I didn't stand there fighting with people for air or space at all. And it gives me hundreds and hundreds of items to pass on to other people so that they can also make money. So what can you do right now? It's one thing to hear me say, here's what we've done. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about your business and what you need to do. Start studying. Sold comps. Look at what sold recently. Look at what sold for the most. Look what sold in your area. Study that stuff. Look for holes in your knowledge and build from the ground up. That doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time to do enough research that you actually come across something in the wild from what you've studied. But Melody and I have been studying hard for like 7 years. We know a lot now. We're pretty competitive when we go look at things. We can tell the value of something. And talking about telling the value of something, the second one is learn to look at quality, materials, and not just brand names. I've said this before, studying brand names is great, but if I'm watching a 4-year-old video, those brand names not even be selling anymore at all. I might be looking at something that was popular or hype wear or trending wear 2 or 3 years ago. And here's the thing about trending, hype wear. You will always be behind the people that created the trend. Always. You're already starting out behind somebody. Yes, it's good to know those things, because if I'm out and I see it, I can still pick it up. It's good to know them, but if that's the extent of your knowledge, you're shortchanging yourself. Third step, offer help. Be of help to people. As you build your knowledge base and you know more, other people can benefit from that. And we go in and we offer help without any expectation of being able to buy. A lot of people will let us buy, but there's no expectation of that. I get opportunities from word of mouth that somebody who doesn't do those things wouldn't get. That is a key component to building relationships with people. It has to be symbiotic. If you're going in with the expectation of, I want to buy your stuff so I can make a lot of money, well, that doesn't help them a whole lot, other than maybe they sold something. When you go in and they know you're there to help them, it's reciprocal, and a lot of times those people want to help you too. Fourth, tell people what you do. Absolutely, you're going to run into a few people that don't like resellers, but it's not most people. Everybody's a reseller these days. And when I let them know that I'm an online reseller, I've been successful, a lot of people are just interested in it, and they're interested in getting stuff to you that you can sell. I run into that far more than I run into people that hate resellers. And just make sure that when you do so in a way that is super honest with them, which comes to number 5, building trust. This is about doing the right thing. It's about going back to somebody and you think you're holding an heirloom that might have value to them, and they're the ones that turned you onto this, giving it back. If you followed me for very long at all, we give back a lot. We go back to people a lot of times where in the transaction it's super lopsided, just out of ignorance, there's something we just didn't know. We will go back to them and make that right. And that word of mouth builds trust with people you haven't even met yet. They will tell you, hey, I heard from so-and-so that you'll be honest with me. And then you can go and you get an opportunity before anybody else is doing. Completely proactive way of sourcing. And when you're ready, when you've built your business to the point, start buying in bulk. We buy whole lockers, of course. We also buy entire estates. We will buy entire collections from people. And we also buy business liquidations where we buy in bulk from companies that have gone out of business. And we find out a lot of those opportunities from word of mouth. But when you buy in bulk, your cost of goods comes way down. It's a lot of times easier to list, especially if you've got multiples of things, which we've done a ton of. But it leaves you with a ton of stuff to help other people. And I think that's really, really good, because buying in bulk doesn't just keep your costs down, it increases the impact that your business can have on other people. We didn't raise our average sale price overnight. It took a lot of years of learning and sourcing and buying, but it felt right for us. We were never going to be the couple that lists 40 or 50 items a piece every day. We didn't want it. For us, that's sure burnout. But listing higher priced items has genuinely increased how much we make for the amount of work we do. It's reduced the fatigue a great deal. It changed everything. Our margins, our sourcing, and our mindset. If you think this helped to look at sourcing in a different way, hit that like button for me. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel. I almost never ask, and I'm told on the YouTube I'm supposed to ask all the time, but I would love it if you would. I appreciate you watching. I'm going to see you real soon on the next one. Bye.